Hello everyone, welcome back. This is day 4 of Polity Daily Drill. Let's begin the first question for today. Consider the following statements regarding Article 15 of at the commencement of the Constitution. At the commencement of the Constitution, very important. It permitted the state to make special provisions for women and children. It allowed the state to make any special provision for the advancement of any socially and educationally backward classes of citizens or for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in educational institutions. It allowed discrimination on the ground of residence. So see, as far as the commencement was concerned, that was 26th of January 1950. Yes, we did have provision for special provisions for women and children under Article 15 Clause 3 right from the beginning of our Constitution, and it allowed discrimination on the grounds of residence is also correct. Please remember, the only discrimination which is not allowed according to Article 15 is RRCSP: religion, race, caste, sex, that is gender and place of birth. Residence can be a source of discrimination, can be a criteria of discrimination. It is allowed. So 3 is correct. However, 2 is incorrect because the reservation policy was, as far as the educational institutions was concerned, was not mentioned at the commencement of the Constitution. These provisions have been added later on, 15 clause 4, clause 5 or even clause 6. So the beginning of reservation in education came from the First Amendment Act of 1951, right, which was to counter the Champakam Dorairajan case of 1951. Then we had the 93rd Amendment Act, which added yet another clause, and then we had the 103rd Amendment Act, which added provisions for EWS category. So this provision was not there originally but was added through the First Amendment Act, hence 2 is not correct. How many statements are correct? 2 statements, 1 and 3 are correct. Moving on to the second question. Consider the following statements regarding the CAA 2019. It requires the states to prepare a national register of citizens for their respective state. It exempts Schedule 5 and 6 areas from its provisions. Now, CAA has been under a lot of discussion, debate, controversy, etc. Recently, the CAA rules were finally notified by the Government of India. See, first statement is actually incorrect. Why? Because the CAA does not talk about NRC at all. In fact, the citizenship rules which were made way back in the year 2003, they talk about the preparation of NRC. Rule 3 very clearly said that the Registrar General could prepare an NRC for the entire country, not the states, and this provision was not there under CAA 2019. It's a very old provision. Second one is also wrong. Why? Because yes, people who are in Schedule 6 areas will not get the benefit of CAA and they will continue to be declared illegal migrants. However, it is only for Schedule 6 that we have an exception, not Schedule 5 areas. There are 10 states which come under Schedule 5 areas, states like Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Gujarat, Himachal, Jharkhand, MP, Maharashtra, Odisha, Rajasthan and Telangana. So these states, if you are an illegal migrant from the 3 countries and 6 religions and have come before 31st of December 2014, you will still be the beneficiary of the CAA 2019. Apart from Schedule 6 areas, people who are living in the inner line permit areas, they will also not get the benefit of the CAA 2019 inner line permit areas, the reference to states like Arunachal, Nagaland, Mizoram, etc. So both statements are wrong. Which of the statements given above is or are incorrect? C. Both statements are incorrect. Moving on to the third question. Consider the following statements regarding the removal of judges of the Supreme Court of India. The removal of judges, which is mentioned under Article 124, two clauses, 4 as well as 5. A Supreme Court judge can be removed from office only on the grounds of proved misbehavior or incapacity. The removal motion can be introduced in either House of the Parliament. Parliament by law, meaning simple majority, can provide for the manner in which the judges can be removed, and no judge of Supreme Court has been removed so far. So as per these articles, first statement is absolutely correct. The reason, the ground for removal is proved misbehavior or incapacity, though there is no definition of what do you mean by misbehavior or what constitutes incapacity. Second statement is also correct. Such removal motions can be introduced in either house. Yes, there is a criteria. In the Lok Sabha, this motion has to be approved or signed by 100 MPs, whereas in the Rajya Sabha, this motion must be signed by 50 MPs before it can be introduced. 2 is also correct. Third one is also correct. This is nothing but Article 124 clause 5, which says that, the Parliament by law can regulate the procedure for removal of judges. We do have a law, the Judges Inquiry Act. This law, the Judges Inquiry Act of 1968, provides for the process to be followed to remove the judges, hence correct. And yes, no judge of Supreme Court has been removed so far. In fact, V. Ramaswamy, the very infamous case of V. Ramaswamy, is an example of somebody coming as close as possible to removal but was not removed. So all 4 statements are correct. Hence D is the right answer. Moving on to the fourth question. Consider the following statements with respect to the removal of speakers. At least 1/10 members are required to give a notice to initiate the process of removal. No grounds are mentioned in the Constitution for the removal. The voting for removal requires an effective majority. So removal of speakers in our country at the central level is mentioned under Article 94. It's important for you to read the article on your own as well. At least 1/10 members. There is no such criteria mentioned with respect to initiating the process of removal. We have a process which we follow to remove the Indian president, and in the case of the president, 1/4 members of the House, they need to initiate the process of removal. There is no such criteria for the speaker's removal. Second statement is correct. No reason whatsoever is mentioned for the removal of the speaker. You can simply raise a motion and say, Speaker, I don't like your smile, I am removing you, or I am bringing a motion to remove you. As simple as that. And third one, the voting for removal requires an effective majority is also correct. The Constitution very clearly says all the then members of the House, meaning total strength minus the vacant seats. This is what is called effective strength, and more than 50% of effective strength is required to remove the speaker. So 2 and 3 are correct. How many statements are correct? B. Only 2. And the last question for today, the fifth question. Consider the following statements about ordinances. Ordinances under Article 123 and Article 213 of the Indian Constitution. Ordinances are, you'll be surprised to know, the only legislative power of the president or the governor. In fact, the Constitution clearly mentions as a heading, if you look at chapter 3 of part 5 of the Indian Constitution. It contains only one article, that is article 123, with the heading, and that is what? Legislative power of the president. Anyway, so every ordinance promulgated by the president must be tabled within 6 months of the assembly of the house before it ceases to operate. The power to promulgate ordinances is the discretionary power of the president, that is, he'll use it on his own. And number 3, no ordinance was promulgated under the prime ministership of Pandit Nehru. Now, of course, first statement is incorrect. Why? It's not 6 months, but 6 weeks of the reassembly. Second one is also incorrect. The power to promulgate ordinances is used under the advice of the Prime Minister, that is Article 74, the advice of the Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister. It is not a discretionary power. And during the Prime Ministership of Pandit Nehru, more than 60, around 66 ordinances were introduced or promulgated. In fact, till date, that is till 2023, our country has seen 745 ordinances. 744 till 2021, 0 in 22, and 1 ordinance last year. 745 ordinances have been promulgated since 1950. That's a very, very big number. Anyway, this is also wrong. All 3 statements are wrong. So the right answer is D, none. That brings us to an end of our discussion today. That is all for this video. Let's meet in the next video. Till then, that is all for me. Jai Hind.